Happy Monday. We're just giggling because our pre-sideshow is probably one of the funniest things. If you ever get a chance, stop on a little bit early, sometimes 15 minutes before. Yeah, it's funny stuff. You are with the Blondes. You're on with the Blondes right here on KUNX Digital Broadcasting, the Onyx, your new mainstream. Hello, Travis. Hello, Get Haunted, Rob, Danny, Kyle, Kristen. Am I missing anybody? I feel there's a Facebook user. If you're not signed in, I don't know your name. We'd love to acknowledge you. So I'll just say hello to Facebook user. I think that's so far we seen in Empty Caskets. There is Bill. Hey, Bill. Sarah Bentley. Hey. Yeah, so we were just having a little fun. We were just having a little giggle. I was reading the jokes. We're having a good time over here. Did you guys catch last week's show? We had RKB, Damon Christie, on with us. Did you happen to go back and look at his piece of evidence from the historic Scott County Jail? Because that is a pretty intriguing piece of evidence.
Yeah.
You know, and what I do love is how, you know, Miranda was there at the jail, Ghost Biker. She was there at the jail during their investigation, and they came down to get her, and they tried to recreate the way the picture flew off, and they had video of how it flew off. So, I mean, could it have been just a weird, it flew off and you just couldn't recreate it? I mean, I suppose, but I don't know.
I mean, I watched it. It looked, the way it flipped off the wall, that doesn't seem natural.
And the fact that they heard a woman's voice, I believe, say help.
And they saw a woman too.
Yeah. So that, you know, the entirety of the experience, pretty intriguing. So if you haven't, go to the RKB Paranormal webpage and check it out. I believe that's like one of their first things that you'll see when you go to their website. It was very cool. And then we had a special live edition last night on Paranormally Blonde's channel. We did crystal bowls or sound bath or sound therapy. It was just a little sort of teaser. I'm hoping to have an actual concert set up for you guys, because I'm going to tell you something. Even just with that little taste, a little nibble of the sound bath, it's pretty cool. Like, it's a pretty, it can affect people. I've had a few people reach out and say, hey, you know what? I was kind of feeling something there. So if you have somebody that does that in your area, I highly recommend checking out a sound bath. They are just the most relaxing. I woke up with the whole, like, you know, I kind of felt like I was a snow globe, and somebody had kind of given me a shake, and everything was all over the place, and it was like time to start putting things back into their proper categories. So if you didn't catch it, please go to our channel and check out last night's episode with Einstein Studios with John and Julia. It was really cool. I really had, you had a vision, which is crazy.
Yeah, I was so surprised, and I looked it up and I posted on Instagram. I was just like, I can't, like, everyone, I want to know if anybody else had a vision too and what it was. Cause I mean, I was like, this is so cool.
And there's there is no right way to experience a sound bath. Some people might feel just, you know, sensations. Some people might see colors. Some might have a full-on vision. Sometimes people go off. Sometimes people just fall asleep. There's no right or wrong way here, but it is a very interesting thing. Hi, I just said hi to Michael, right?
I popped him up there.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, Michael. Said hi.
I want to make sure we're saying hi to everybody. And then the other thing I just sort of want to pop out there, because we are down to the wire, folks. Today's the 29th, correct? Tonight. It's the 29th, which means September 1st is deadline for World's Largest Ghost Hunt, and you cannot sign your team up after that date. So if you want on this fun, amazing ride and event, jump on to nationalghosthuntingday.com and register your team before it's too late. Our very lovely Dee Dee here will be participating in that on September 24th. She is still taking your dreams, so you can send those into hauntedhourpodcast@yahoo.com. and let her analyze those right there during her hour. She's going to be getting that shortly. As soon as everybody's signed up, then they'll give everybody a time slot, and she'll be able to let you know what time you can watch her do that. But she's going to have her little dream analysis and anime. You're going to do a little investigation with anime. I love this, like a fun hour with Dee Dee, like doing her thing. So please send your dreams in if you are interested. Also, also check out these teams that are participating. Some of them are having amazing events. And I just want to point that out because they put a lot of time and energy into these events that they do, and they do sell tickets, and that money goes right back to the location that they are supporting for this. I mean, that's the whole idea of World's Largest Ghost Hunt. You are helping support and preserve a piece of history.
Yeah.
And there is a team that I am working with right now, Two Realms. They are doing an event, 2-day event actually, in Cleveland, Ohio. And this thing is amazing. They're setting up a 2-day Paracon. Wow. And so they've got doors open at 10 a.m. They're doing a whole speakers and vendors. And then the ghost hunt starts at 9. And you can ghost hunt. There's going to be 2 celebrities there. There is Sean Austin from the Travel Channel. And also, okay, so I'm just going to admit, I don't watch The Walking Dead. I never have. I don't do zombies. That's like my one thing. Spiders and zombies are my no. So I've never watched it, but Santiago Carrillo, I believe his name is.
God, and I watched The Walking Dead, and I don't know who that is.
Yeah, so somebody help me there. He is a celebrity. Don't go by me. I need
the character's name.
Yeah, I know no one, so don't go by me. But so you can ghost hunt with them, and then the next day they're going to do the vendors and speakers again, and then there's a documentary that they're going to watch and a concert by Sean Austin. So these people really put amazing time and energy into this. And again, 100% of that goes back to their location, which is the B&O train depot, I believe.
That's so cool. I'd love to go to that.
So cool. That's not that far for me. And I'm like, I can do a 4-hour drive, right?
Yeah.
Might be worth it to check out.
Sounds like it. Sounds cool.
Right. And support a World's Largest Ghost Hunt team. So please go to the World's Largest Ghost Hunt page, Facebook page, check it out. Paranormally Blonde is also featuring these teams on their page. So please go check them out, support them, share it out. If you can't go, you can share it out. That would be super helpful. So tonight, we have the Get Haunted family on the side here. And tonight we have one of their family members on the show. We are going to be graced here with Lawrence, Mr. Lawrence from MONDOdocs. Hi, Lawrence.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. Welcome to the Blondes. Are you nervous with everybody on the side there? Like,
no, I can't see them. Line them out, or
don't worry, Dee Dee will pull up some comments for you. So if there's anything that we don't want you to miss, we'll make sure that it's up there.
Look forward to it, especially Rob's dad jokes.
That's there. We got Rob there, and your lovely girlfriend Sarah Bentley is off here on the side here supporting you. If you haven't followed Sarah, she's got a great page. Does she do? She's a TikToker, correct?
She's on TikTok. She's getting back into it in the fall, I believe, doing more horror makeup. Okay. But she can say more about that.
Yeah. Okay. And I just want to know, I did see she is doing makeup for what big location?
Penhurst. So she's a makeup artist for Penhurst during their hunt. Starting September 24th, actually.
Yeah, she announced that, and that's so fun. Like, how much fun if you're a makeup artist and you kind of land a big location like that?
Yeah, because I've done makeup for locations for Halloween, and it's totally fun.
So, congratulations, Sarah. We're excited to see what you do. Hopefully, you can take some pictures of your work. But we're here to celebrate Lawrence tonight. So, there you go. Let's bring the attention on back. So, Lawrence, you know, I only know what I know about you. I don't go full in and stalk people before they come on the show because I sort of like it to be a little bit more, I don't know, organic where the conversation goes. So I know you create documentaries, but let's start with, what is your day job?
I work at a retail store. Before that, I was at a crematorium for deceased pets, but it got, you know, you can only handle so much of that in terms of the heat and so forth. So I left the crematorium, and now I work at a retail job doing warehouse stuff. Awesome. And on the side, doing paranormal explorations and documentaries.
I love that. So, okay, I just want to ask though, with cremating somebody's pet, did you ever have any weird activity where you did this?
So, kinda. So every now and then I'll think there's someone behind me. I'll be at the, at my machine taking notes, and I'll think my manager is coming up behind me, and I'll turn around, expect it to him, but no one will be there. Others claim they had the same experiences. Some claim the place is haunted, but I don't know. I mean, it got so many pets who would come and go through that place, deceased, of course. So
I hope so.
So I mean, it's hard to say if that place would be active or not. I never investigated. I never pushed those buttons. But I'm sure there's something there.
You know, I kind of wonder too, and I don't know if you would know the story of the pets, but you know, I would assume with as many pets that maybe came through, eventually you probably came across a pet whose owner might have passed before them, and maybe a family member or something took that animal on, and then the animal passed. Like, do you think those owners would come back to be there with their pet? I don't know. I'm just curious. A lot of people say they have their pets come and visit them. So
it depends. I mean, I have a friend down in Georgia. She works at a crematorium, and she believes that a pet, a little dog, came home with her. I think she took the tag home with her. Because the owners didn't want it back, you know. So she took it home with her, and she claims her cat would see something in the corner of the room. She claims she can feel something on her bed at night, kind of sitting next to her, and some other weird things that would happen. So I think she took a piece of hair back home with her. That's what it was. She did a hair clipping, which is common. You can do paw prints or hair clippings for your pets at the crematorium, and I think she took a piece of hair back home with her. And now she's haunted by this little dog. So
wow.
I mean, probably rather be haunted by a little dog than
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
So then what happens when people work in a crematorium with people?
I
don't know. That's a whole other.
Well, hopefully you're not taking pieces of hair home.
That's a concern. That's some Jeffrey Dahmer.
That's a whole nother show. So
we didn't in an hour discuss that.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so let's just start also with, so you make these documentaries. Were you into film as a younger person, or?
Yeah, so I grew up watching horror movies and documentaries. All I wanted to do when I was little was grow up and make movies. And my entire life, I've just been making really terrible, bad home movies on my mom's VHS camera and my mini DV cameras, and then eventually went to school for filmmaking. My senior thesis was a documentary, and that was my first time really experimenting with the documentary format. And you know, it gives you a lot of freedom, but also a lot of restrictions too, because anything could happen. If you set an idea for a documentary, something could happen that might change the entire course of that film. Where the theme will change, or the plot, the story will change, and so forth. But yeah, since then I've been just doing short, weird films and documentaries. And actually, MONDOdocs was going to be a documentary channel about just weird things. I started when I was living in Pittsburgh. I was going to do it on drag shows, punk bars, and so forth. And, you know, eventually when 2020 happened, COVID happened, I kind of, shut everything down. So I'm like, well, what can I do video-wise that doesn't involve too many people? So well, cemeteries, first off, I could do cemetery safaris. So the channel wasn't going to be concentrated on anything haunted or paranormal, at least not to the extent that it is now. But since late 2020, I've been just cranking out paranormal stuff since then. So
do you find, so it's actually a really good point. I mean, who doesn't love a true crime doc, right? Like, those are very interesting, but it is, while sometimes there will be a documentary being produced and made and created, sometimes, like you said, that the narrative changes a bit, which throws the documentary off. So do you find when you're doing paranormal stuff, I mean, let's be honest, if you're going back and doing historical stuff, you're a little bit safer in that area, correct?
In a way. I mean, the best example, one of a good example is last year, we went to the Fainting Goat Island Inn, which is a haunted inn in upstate New York. And, it's rated to be the second most haunted place in America, according to USA Today. So I'm like, all right, let's go out there, let's film, let's see what happens. Nothing happened. No evidence whatsoever. So at that point, it's like, okay, what do we have here? We just have a really creepy place. So let's just, make this all about this inn and more exploring it of anything else. So it's weird. I go into places now, I'm not expecting evidence or anything to happen. And that's when it happens. I went to a Yogi Bear campground that's been abandoned since the 70s down in West Virginia last year. And there's a giant Yogi Bear statue in the camp. It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of nowhere. It's horrifying. It's like a horror movie.
Yeah.
And I'm filming, just walking around, and then you just hear like a whisper saying like nope, like a nope. And we were not expecting to get a weird voice on camera. Even the Mothman lair, the TNT bunkers down in Point Pleasant. Sarah and I went there like a month ago. And, I don't believe in Mothman. It's a fun idea. It's a fun concept. I love cryptids. Love the lore of Mothman. I don't believe in him. So we went down there to film. And we went to the one bunker. And we were just filming and, got our footage. Great. Came back to Pennsylvania. Started editing the footage. And in the one bit we're going through the bunker, you just hear a man go, hello. Ooh. It's a man's voice. And it's echoey. Because the bunkers, the acoustics are insane. The echoes are out of control. And it sounds like the man is actually in the bunker with us, but there was no one there. And we didn't hear it in real time. So I guess part of the story is that, go somewhere to film, don't expect anything to happen, and the weirder shit happens.
That's right. Yeah. Well, and that's true. I mean, the reality is we never know when we're going to get something good, and it does happen when you least expect it. So, so you are part of the Get Haunted family. You're on the Get Haunted network, and if you are also a part of this group, you will watch people banter back and forth. And I always see Lawrence always has this one saying, "I don't believe in ghosts." Do you? Do we not believe in ghosts?
It's a joke. I've been saying that for over a year now to people, to close friends, and kind of expanded. No, I'll never tell a stranger I meet at a paranormal convention or elsewhere. And be like, I don't believe in ghosts. No, of course I do. Now, I think ghosts, everyone has their own perspective of what a ghost is. And, I have 1,000 theories. You have 1,000 theories. Everyone has so many theories on what a ghost may be. But at the end of the day, there's something out there we can't explain. Right. I've heard it with my own ears. It's strange. I don't know how to explain it.
Do you feel like when you go and you do these documentaries or you explore these locations that you're choosing and you get some really good ones, like you go out there and you really go through, I mean, you and Sarah just did this big road trip and you really hit some good spots. Do you find that your belief system changes with each location you go to, and each time you make a documentary, do you go in with one thought, and then as you're putting this documentary together, does it change? Like, do you watch and go, you know what?
It depends. I mean, I'm definitely more of a believer than I was back in 2020. I went to Gettysburg for the first time in August of 2020. And I believed in the idea of spirits or ghosts, whatever you want to call it. But when you go to Gettysburg, and you have an experience there, it does change things a lot. I remember the first time I spent the night there was at the Farnsworth House, which is one of the most haunted places in America. And every time I go there, it's always a crazy experience, especially the last time I went there. But the first time I was there, I was in bed trying to sleep. And I remember feeling a pressure on my left foot. So I'm like, I'm just like falling asleep. So I'm thinking maybe I imagined it. Maybe it's like me just kind of, hallucinating. So I'm like almost asleep. Then it happens again. And I'm like, okay, I'm more awake now. I'm not paralyzed. I'm not asleep. I'm fully awake at this point. And then it happens a third time, but it's extremely heavy. And at that point I sat up and was like, Jesus effing Christ, what is happening? Who is touching my foot? But that made me more of a believer, that night alone. And it's funny. I have a friend named Michelle, who's a good friend of mine. I brought her to the Farnsworth House in Gettysburg early 2021, and she was extremely skeptical, still is, but not a believer at all. And so she went in the hallway. I'm in the room hanging out. She comes back in, opens the drawer in the vanity, puts some stuff in the drawer, closes it, gets into bed with me. All of a sudden we hear a whoosh. We look over and the drawer is wide open. So that freaked her out a lot. But what really got to her was she was taking a bath, and I'm in the room hanging out on my phone, on my camera, doing whatever. She's in the dark in the bathroom doing her thing. And then I just hear a woman humming, like going, I think it's her. Goes on for maybe 10 seconds and it stops. And then she goes, was that you? I'm like, no. Was that you? She goes, no. The humming happened 3 feet in front of her in the darkness. Ooh. So that night changed her life completely.
Yeah.
So she's skeptical a lot, like I am still. Yeah. But she now is, she has more of an open mind and she knows there's something out there that's just bizarre.
What was that word, Dee Dee, that we used to use on the old show about a skeptical believer? Do you remember they married the words together?
Yeah. I don't remember.
And I think that is what's really interesting because, a lot of times people, I like to poke holes in a lot of that stuff. And, and it's not that I don't believe. I do believe. Why else am I doing this, right? Yeah. I believe there is something bigger out there. But I often say it's not that I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in the stories sometimes, right? But these are the stories when these things happen. I mean, you might not jump to, oh my gosh, it's paranormal, right? But you're like, I can't explain it. Like, who was humming in the bathroom 3 feet from me? I mean, that is a crazy experience to be like, I don't think have you ever had anything like that, Dee Dee? I don't think I've had anything quite that profound.
No, I mean, I've always had things when I'm waking up or falling asleep. And so you always have to say, well, that's probably part of the, you can't for sure. But not just like sitting here and all of a sudden, someone's humming. No.
Yeah. And for both of you to hear it.
Right. Yeah. That's what gets me. Both of them heard it. Yeah.
Yeah. You can both validate that.
Yeah.
All right. So you love horror movies. And I do. I love when he's posting on social media what horror movie I don't know how old you are and it doesn't matter. I'm a kid of the 70s. So a lot of times the movies you're putting out there they just land so right for me. It's like, I remember those. My sisters are 10 and 7 years older than me. So when I was 6, I was watching Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah.
So you're doing these documentaries now. And I feel like you sort of had one vision, but I feel like I've recently seen a post that you're sort of changing up your vibe a bit. You're going a little bit more morbid, I would say.
A little bit. I mean, so I already do more long form documentaries. Well, kind of. I do mainly explorations. The most documentary thing I've done, like traditional documentary thing I've done so far for the channel, has to be The Hauntings of Gettysburg, which had Rob in it and Pam Barry from Gettysburg, or their Hoover House. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to go for something a little more. I mean, I don't want to spoil it too much, but my next one, how do I explain it? So a video I'm doing in September is going to be more about my trip to Poland back in 2013. Okay. I'm going to be concentrating on a certain location that's controversial, it's infamous, and we're going to ask the question, is it haunted? Or should the question be, should we ask if it's haunted?
Right.
Because, and if you, it's not hard to connect the dots to know what I'm talking about in Poland. But I think I like pushing buttons. Yeah. I like pushing boundaries. And I think as a documentary filmmaker, you kind of have to do that sometimes to start conversation. Yeah. And I like the idea of starting conversation, such as, saying ghosts aren't real in paranormal groups. That always starts a conversation.
That's right. That's a button pusher.
But morbid, I guess, but definitely go for something more darker and more traditional documentary sense in a way. So I won't say too much.
Well, and for everybody, next week, of course, next Monday is Labor Day, but the Blondes aren't going to take off. We are going to be on our channel, and Lawrence will be joining us with a whole bunch of people from Get Haunted Network that have offered to, I put the call out, hey, who wants to have a good, deep discussion? And they all raised their hands and we're like, we're in. So I'm glad to hear what you're saying now, Lawrence, because I do want to be able to, I'm not asking anybody to abandon their beliefs. I'm asking people for just a moment to tear something that they believe apart, to build it back up, to see where we come out, because you might come out in the same place or you might come out somewhere a little different. And that's the whole point of it.
I'm skeptical in terms of accepting what's paranormal evidence and what's not. Like certain EVPs or your K2 meter going off because your cell phone is nearby. And
right. So, and there's always that one person that it's not on airplane mode and they swear it is, but it's not.
Yeah. So I'm very like picky when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But sometimes some things you just can't explain. Like
Right.
we got, with Rob, I have my own opinions on the DR60, but he's gotten some insane results with that
Yeah.
little thing. It's
Yeah.
it's unbelievable.
Right. And I think, and that's a whole conversation as well. I mean, everybody can have this piece of equipment that, of course, not everybody's going to agree upon, correct? I mean, some
Yeah.
people love K2, some people don't like K2, some people like the DR60, some people don't. But the reality is, just like your own experiences, they're so personal. And so equipment might work better. Certain pieces of equipment might work better for one person opposed to somebody else. I mean, okay, so then I got to ask this question, because you're focusing on getting material for these documentaries, which, if you haven't seen the Gettysburg one, it is really well done. It's really good. I really do appreciate your work, Lawrence. It is very, if you're not a part of MONDOdocs on YouTube, please go to his MONDOdoc page on YouTube and subscribe. Great documentaries. But when you're filming, do you feel like you miss what's going on around you? Like, do you feel like you have to be focused on getting material, or do you focus on the actual investigation, so to speak?
It depends. If I'm at a location that's abandoned, for example, I'm looking in front of me. Make sure I don't trip and fall or fall into a hole, and that's that. Mondo dead. But at a haunted location, it's I'm looking through the camera most of the time. But it depends on the mood. It depends on the environment. Sometimes I'll be looking around. If I'm feeling a little rattled or a little nervous, I'll be looking around a little bit, make sure there's no one around me, or so forth. So it all depends on the environment and the mood.
Okay, so would you prefer to go with a group of investigators to be able to sort of focus on your filmmaking, but also getting, they're kind of your eyes and ears and sort of helping you point where you need to be? Or do you like to do it by yourself?
So what I like doing is, every video will start with a walkthrough of me doing a solo, walking around a haunted place by myself with a camera. I like the Lazy Boarding House, for example, or the Farnsworth House, or the Selma Mansion in Norristown, PA. I'll walk around a little bit, do a walkthrough, maybe give some history, and just kind of see what I can pick up through my camera. And then eventually we'll do the other half of the video, just kind of filming investigators do their thing. So I like observing, I like documenting. Being part of the investigation is fun too.
Yeah.
But when I'm filming, I like to just to document and to observe.
Okay. I mean, I think that's truly, you're sticking to your creative side and to your art. And I think sometimes it's sort of like that. I always say that, like, if you see a video camera and it takes still shots and it takes videos and it does this and it does that, it can't do it all really well, right? It's got to do one thing well. So I think you I like that you do focus on that. Race, our producer, is asking, do you ever cover the Big Fear Con in Salt Lake City? Have you ever heard of that?
I think I know the name, but I've never been there.
I got to check that out. There must be a good reason why he's asking. All right. So you've done Gettysburg. You've done the Fainting Goat Inn. What are some of your other documentaries that you have out there for people to check out?
I definitely recommend the Selma Mansion. A good friend of mine recommended the place. It was him, it was Jim Houston, it was Danny, Kristen, and myself who went to the Selma Mansion. And Jim talked a big game about the place. I was like, okay. I mean, it sounds great. It was a 1700s mansion. Looks beautiful. Looks extremely haunted. But let's just see where it goes and see what happens. But we got some insane EVPs. When Kristen was messing with the dowsing rods, which I don't really believe in, we got an EVP of someone whispering, "Help her," which at first I thought it said "help me," but the more you listen to it, it's saying "help her," as if maybe they're trying to help her communicate with whoever or whatever is there. But the Selma Mansion, recommend that one. The Farnsworth House, which was, when I took my friend Michelle there, that's a good video. But I mean, not to toot my own horn, but they're all pretty good.
toot it. You go right ahead. I support that. You better self-love, sir. All right. So then as you've got a big, you're putting together the one for Poland, which I'm very interested to look at that. My Polish side a little bit, but just to be able to see something with such tragic history and history that really makes up the world, right? Like that's going to be a very amazing one. But when you're out there and you're looking at these locations, and like you said, you did the Mothman, you've had some really cool locations that you hit, but are there places, I mean, we all know as investigators, there's some that are just popular by, right, sort of the legend sort of supersedes maybe really kind of what goes on, kind of what you were saying about the fainting goat. In, right? Sometimes the stories are a little bit bigger than maybe what the experiences truly sort of present. So when you kind of look at these locations here that are close by you, are there any that sort of stick out, like, I don't know, a Waverly, or do you like the more unknown locations that you can really dig into and maybe show the world what's really out there?
Depends. I know Gettysburg is just it's a big hit. People love Gettysburg. And those videos do the best on my channel. I think the Triangular Field video just hit 13,000 views. Okay. Which is a lot. I'm proud of for my very small channel. But people love Gettysburg videos. For me, I do like more unknown places. Okay. I like bed and breakfasts. I like inns. I like smaller, confined places when it comes to paranormal investigations or explorations. Penhurst was my first real big exploration. Sarah and I went with Paranormal New England, I believe they're called. Okay. And that was incredible. And we got some weird stuff that happened that night. And it was nice. It was different being in a large location like that. Yeah. Where I'm used to more like little tiny inns or bed and breakfasts, but being in a huge former abandoned state hospital like that, was really something. It was something else.
Could you feel like when you walked in Penhurst, is that something that just sort of smacks you in the face when you first walk in there? I mean, that's big energy, right?
It is a lot of tragic history. You know, it has a lot of tragic history, a lot of abuse, torture of patients. But honestly, when I go somewhere, I don't really get like the feels. I don't get the vibe. So I only felt the vibe a few times in my life. I think the first time was at the Hoover House in Williamsboro, Pennsylvania, which is owned by Steve and Pam Berry from Gettysburg. Yep, Sarah's right. We had a woman cackling at us. And we walked in that's how I was all the time. But the Hoover House. I walked in there and you just felt like someone was watching you. You felt like there was eyes all over you. And if you don't know the Hoover House, it was an old nursing home. It was built in 1912. And wherever you go in that place, you just feel like there's people watching you. It doesn't matter where you are in that damn house, you feel like you're being watched. Yeah. And that was the first time I felt really uneasy, unsettled. Now I've been there like 25 times now. I'm so used to it. It's a great place, amazing breakfast, amazing people. But it's I don't get those vibes often. But like Penhurst, what happened there was horrible, but I didn't really get any heavy energy vibes from it. But this is me being me.
I find that very interesting, Dee Dee. I don't know. What do you think? Like when you have an investigator, I always have a respect for those that can walk in and be like, I don't get the feels, but I'm here exploring anyways. I kind of dig that a little bit because I feel like sometimes we get too much into our feels. I'm not, this is not a dig on anybody. Believe me, I am a feel girl.
You create your own, you work yourself up to have a certain feeling or even a physical reaction. You know, if you think you're going to throw up, you might. I've seen that happen at the Haunted Museum. A lot of people have thrown up because they're always talking about people getting disturbed and throwing up or fainting. And I remember one day where I was watching a video and they're talking about fainting and I literally felt faint. And I knew it was because of the power of suggestion, you know, and I'm like, I'm just going to look away and not listen. And then it passed. Yeah. So you have to
Side note, I will not go to the haunted museum now because I am deathly afraid of throwing up. So there you go. So that's never happening now. Thank you.
Which haunted museum are we talking about here?
Oh, sorry, the haunted museum, Zach Bagans' haunted museum in
God,
Las Vegas.
I do want to go there. I'm not. I mean, cool. Look, say what you will about Zach Bagans. I mean, he's, but his museum I hear is incredible.
It is.
I hear it's like part haunted house and part museum. Like he has like live actors. Like I think it's like a doll room. Yeah. I think you go in the room with dolls, right?
Yeah.
There's a little person in there dressed like a doll, and they jump and scare you or something like that.
It changes. It changes. Every time you go, it's different. So you never go and you'll never know what to expect because they constantly change it. So you don't know what to expect.
Right.
But it's like a bunch of miniature museums because every room has a theme and the artifacts in there go with that theme. And then they've got like clowns that jump out at you at one point. And there's so many different things going on at the same time. There's no way anyone can be in there and not have some kind of like emotional or physical experience because it's just crazy, you know?
Yeah.
It's like an antique store on acid or something.
Yeah. Well, now that we know one of the experiences throwing up.
Well, I've been 4 times and I haven't thrown up.
Oh, great. Well, number 5.
You've been there 4 times, you said?
Yeah. I go there when I go.
Okay, go on.
No, I always go there when I go to Las Vegas. I really do enjoy the experience.
Nice. Like I said, I do want to go. I'm not a fan of Ghost Adventures, but I do want to go and check the place out because I hear great things about it.
Yeah, and I think this is so not Ghost Adventures, right? I feel like the Haunted Museum is a completely separate. Look, he's a very good businessman. Whether or not somebody agrees with his investigative style or what he does on TV, I think the reality is we can all agree he's a very, very smart businessman. Yeah. And this museum, I think, really, it's, I mean, world renowned, I would say.
Yeah, there's no way that anyone could go and not even like I remember Courtney took her husband who's not even into the paranormal and she said he loved it. It was the same thing with my husband. He was just like, yeah, I'll go, but he was not into it at all. And he loved it.
And he goes, he's gone 3 more times.
With me every time. He's not like, no, we're not going. He's like, fine, we'll go. And we like keep bumping it up to the different types of tiers of tours. So
I love that.
It's just a weird experience.
Yeah. But you can't film there, Lawrence. There is no film.
Yeah.
Well, apparently a YouTuber did film there recently. Some is a Sam and Cody. I never watched their content. I don't know who they are, but I know they're pretty big on YouTube. So, but they film there.
You're not 18, so you probably don't know Sam and Cody.
No, I am nowhere near 18.
They are fun. Just FYI, they're fun. They're fun YouTube to watch. Okay, so. You love creating movies, documentaries. Do you kind of see MONDOdocs morphing into like, do you have a bigger picture? Do you think like even just a goal, like, you know, one day I'm going to make a full-blown horror movie? Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
Right now, I'm kind of seeing where it goes. I mean, the channel has evolved so much. Like I said before, it was not meant to be a paranormal channel to the extent that's been so far. It was meant to be something just to focus on Pennsylvania and New Jersey, weird things, you know, roadside attractions and oddities and so forth. So where it's at now, you know, you get to the point where you kind of stress yourself out because the way it works is, you know, the more videos you pump out, the more YouTube likes you and will push your content out to other people. But that could also diminish the quality of your content if you feel rushed. So I got to the point now where I'm just thinking, you know, quality over quantity. So I'm going to focus more on long form stuff. Right now I'm in the works of doing a documentary on a local all year round Halloween shop, for example. So stuff like that. And trying to get back into more of the weird alternative side of things, but also keep a strong, you know, paranormal aspect as well.
Yeah. I feel like you sort of, Dee Dee and I have had this conversation the last couple of days, right? Like you want to kind of keep it fresh. And sometimes I think when you're solely focused on one thing, it can get a little boring. It can, you know, you kind of have to remember that there's just so much that revolve around this. I mean, even with paranormal investigators, right? Like you have some that are super into Halloween, that have Halloween decorations out, and maybe they're not even called, as Lawrence has some right behind him there, one of my favorite ghosts in the world behind him. And it doesn't, and they're probably not even, maybe you guys don't refer to them as Halloween decorations. It's just, it's
home
more
decor.
Yeah,
You're around.
that's right. I mean, why are we putting them in a box, right? But and then there are others that are sort of into, I don't know, I feel like there's the category of heavy metal, like, right, heavy metal plays a big role in paranormal. And so I feel like you kind of have to mix it up. And I think when you sort of dig into more of the oddities or the weird aspects of it, it gives you a broader picture of what paranormal is and sort of maybe where our beliefs come from, maybe why we follow a certain thing. I mean, do you feel your love of horror movies, I don't know, sort of steered you in a way?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely want to incorporate more horror into my videos, which I kind of try to do with the explorations.
Okay.
It's kind of put you in that experience with me. This is why I like doing the walkthroughs of certain places, like the Farnsworth or the Lizzie Borden house. I want to take you with me on this little journey through this haunted or supposedly haunted place, and kind of hope you feel something. Kind of hope you feel what I feel, whether that's scared, unsettled, whatever it may be. But yeah, long story short, I definitely want to add some kind of horror elements to my videos, and I think I do that a little bit.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious, do you don't like doing lives? Lives are not you would
lately I've been doing more live streams. I did the Shanley Hotel, with Get Haunted, the Hoover House with Get Haunted. We did one at the Farnsworth House last weekend with Sarah and Kristen. And we had some we did some investigating, got some motion ball activity in the one room. But no, I think live streams are actually more fun than I thought they would be.
Okay.
It's more immersive. It's more, I think it's a better way to connect with people who watch your videos. Okay. Whether it's 5 people or 500 people, doesn't matter. Right. It's more interactive. And, I do want MONDOdocs to be more interactive. Which is why I like Get Haunted so much. I'm not a fan of ghosts. I'm not a fan of public investigations. I think they're so gimmicky and just bad. But Get Haunted really offers something really interactive and unique, and that's what kind of attracted me to Rob's vision of Get Haunted.
Okay, I love that, Rob. Do you like hearing that?
I'm sure
that's a nice little plug for it. Is different.
Okay.
It is. Oh, look at that. He loves you now. Aw, he probably regrets the joke he was doing in the beginning of the show.
He regrets nothing.
So okay, I'm gonna ask. Just to stir it up a little bit. Nothing controversial, I promise. But I'm curious. So, because you do documentaries and you like the long form, how do you feel about the whole sort of TikTok, these quick little pieces in paranormal? How do you feel that sort of, and I know your girlfriend does some of that stuff, but how do you feel that affects paranormal? Does it bring in a different element? Does it really give you the story you have this vision and you're telling this amazing story in a long form, where TikTok, you're getting it. I don't even know. How long is a TikTok? A minute? I don't even know.
It could be a minute or 2 minutes now. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you feel how do you feel about that shorter attention span? How do you feel that affects paranormal?
It's funny you ask. I think I do TikTok more than Sarah. But lately it's a great way to drive traffic to your YouTube channel and other platforms. Okay. TikTok you have an easier way to access much more people, a wider range of viewers on TikTok. That's just the way the algorithm works on that app. It's crazy how it works. I did a video last week and right now has over 245,000 views.
Oh, wow.
Which is bonkers. It was just a museum in Gettysburg of really just crazy stuff. And there's a lot of paranormal stuff I put on there too, abandoned locations and some walkthroughs, some cemeteries. But they're short. And I think it depends. I think TikTok is its own entity. I think you go on there for more short form content, whether it's just humor, whether it's to be scared. It's a very effective tool to bring out a lot of emotions in you. But I love TikTok. I think it's a great tool for young filmmakers. I've seen a lot of amazing short films on TikTok done in 30 or 40 seconds, which is extremely difficult to do. But no, it's a great way to drive traffic to your YouTube channel. So I'm taking advantage of that.
But do you think that a majority of who watches TikTok, and I don't know, because again, I do not have TikTok. I just don't. But do you feel like for those who really kind of spend their day scrolling through a TikTok, and I know you said it drives traffic to your YouTube, but do they, like, I feel like there's a group with short attention spans, and then there will be those that will use it as sort of like I don't know, little summaries of, oh, I want to go look at that now in a longer form. I mean, do you feel like what do you think, just a general, like, what do you think the numbers could be of people that really watch TikTok will go and now watch, say, what's your longest documentary you have out there?
Oh, The Hauntings of Gettysburg. It's like an hour and 16 minutes.
Okay. So if you're watching a TikTok, will they sit and watch an hour and 16 minutes?
It depends. It depends on the person. I notice a lot of, I think my main demographic for YouTube are mainly, 50s and 60s. Mostly Gettysburg, the younger generation of 50s and 60s. But no, I think I don't know. I think it's a good way of attracting young people to the paranormal. Mm-hmm. I think it could bring out more younger people to paranormal investigations.
Okay.
I think it's getting a lot more people involved with paranormal investigating, which I think is necessary and important, as long as they respect it and they go in with the right intentions. There's a lot of people, young and old, with the wrong intentions when it comes to ghost hunting. But I think TikTok is it's a good tool to have to get more people involved, hopefully for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I mean, TikTok, it's you can go for hours discussing it. It's really I don't think I have a set belief on it really.
I think I'm just, we had Mr. Corbin Bentley on, who is a great TikToker, and again, I have to believe because I don't have TikTok, but I'm always curious with the attention spans of the younger people. Like you said, having younger people get attracted to paranormal, but a TikTok is sort of pulling the most interesting out of paranormal and flashing it in their eyes for 30 seconds to a minute. And so I'm often curious, like, I feel like we've lost a little mindfulness as to what paranormal exploration is. That is my own opinion. It is not one of my co-host and or KUNX. This is my own opinion. I feel like there's a little bit of that mindfulness that has been lost because we want the pops and the flash and the funky music and the little emojis dancing around, instead of really going into these locations or these legends, and I don't know, like you said, going into the bunkers for Mothman, like that's really just taking it in and absorbing it. And if nothing happens, you went in and were a part of these stories and legends that people talk about and have talked about for generations. So I just feel like these little flashes sometimes, although helpful probably in so many ways that are completely beyond me, I can admit that. I'm definitely a more fan of watching an hour and 16-minute documentary. I want to know a lot about it.
Yeah, I agree, but maybe it's our age.
Our age is showing Dee Dee.
And the thing is, don't forget, there are two different platforms, YouTube and TikTok. You go to YouTube for a long form. You go on TikTok, not to watch anything long. Go on there and you expect maybe a story in 30 seconds, which is possible. Challenging, but it's possible. But I don't know. I think it's just two different platforms with two different mission statements. I mean, it's
working, right? Like, here's the thing. This is just 50-some-year-old woman just out there trying to understand what this TikTok really draws. And I'm always curious. Hello, Sam. Just really curious sort of how that really does affect some of the work that some of the older people are out there doing. And, do they get it? And maybe they don't need to get it the way we get it, but I mean,
look, everything changes, everything evolves. And that includes paranormal investigating. And, TikTok has exposed so many people to ghost hunting and paranormal investigating. And that's thanks to people like Becky Galantine and Corbin, for example. Like, a lot of these people help expose paranormal investigating to a wider audience, which I think is,
it is big. Right. Yeah. It definitely helps. I'm curious, what do you think? Because as we know, you can scour through YouTube and find those pieces of video, longer videos that could be a little bit enhanced, faked, so to speak. I'm using air quotes there for you, those of you listening to us on the radio. What do you think the TikToks, do you feel those have a less of an opportunity to fake stuff because they're just polling something that was sort of...
I mean, look, what you can do is you can just put up highlights of a video on TikTok. For me, I put highlights of my videos because they're so long. So I just put, like the Mothman bunkers, the hello we got in the bunker. I put that on TikTok as a highlight and got a decent amount of views. But when it comes to faking stuff, yeah, you can fake anything you want to fake.
Yeah.
And people will fall for it. And that's, that's when it comes down to intentions. What's your intention of, exposing people to the paranormal? Are you exposing them to the paranormal for views and clicks and for whatever other reason? Or do you want to expose them to the paranormal to get them legit interested and have them learn more about it? TikTok has really opened the floodgates when it comes to ghost hunting. Yeah. So I know so many people who are now into ghost hunting because of TikTok. Yeah. And, like I said, at the end of the day, it comes down to attention.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I think, as the social media platforms sort of open up and the ways to share what you do open up, again, I just like to ask the question, please don't anybody feel that was an attack on them, because it's not. I think there's nothing wrong with TikTok in the sense of it does get you out there. It does expose many more people. I just like to look at things and, for me, I think I just need a greater understanding. I don't mind quick little blips. It does get you interested in some things, but I definitely like the whole journey of a story. And so an hour and 16 minutes probably serves me a little bit better, but that's just me. Right. Everybody's a little different. Okay. So help us promote you a little bit here, Lawrence. Where do you want people to find you and what can they expect to see from you here in the near future?
Yeah. Go to MONDOdocs on YouTube, subscribe. If you like watching a guy explore weird and haunted places, grimy, abandoned places, then I'm your cup of tea. It's TikTok, MONDOdocs on there as well. And, you can expect a lot more explorations, but also more traditional documentaries. Some are going to be controversial. Some are going to be fun. But yeah, YouTube, MONDOdocs, that's the best way to do it. Go subscribe.
I love that. So, that question went right in and right out. Wow. There you go.
Oh, it's because I just deleted it from your head because I wanted to.
There you go. Take it over, Dee.
I was watching the one Devil's Hole.
Yep.
And that was, so you were out there completely by yourself? There was no other people?
Yeah. So I came across a fisherman and I think his son in the beginning of the trail, but it was going to be me and Sarah, but she hurt her. She sprained her ankle. Oh. Got a cough. Right. She sprained her ankle the day before on a hike, but she's okay. She's fine. But so I was like, okay, well, let me go by myself then to the Devil's Hole and see what I can find. Yeah. But I was in the woods by myself.
Really fun.
And I wasn't expecting anything creepy or anything like that. But being out there in the woods, definitely, I didn't feel alone. I was more concerned about bears than ghosts.
Yeah.
But so I thought I kept hearing a weird noise in the around me. Yeah. And my main concern was, oh my God, I'm gonna see a bear. Yeah. So got my footage, took some pictures, and just kind of I bolted.
And where is Devil's Hole?
It's in the Poconos, which is up in the boonies, maybe an hour or so from me. So the Poconos has some great gems, a lot of weird little places. So
So what do you do if you do run into a bear? What is your plan if you run into a serial killer or a bear?
I barely have a plan. I don't know. I don't know. I really should buy some bear mace.
Yeah. Way to go into the woods, Lawrence.
I'm always in the woods anyway, just hiking around. So I might as well get some bear mace and be prepared for the worst. Or you just yell, make noise.
I don't think that works.
Not with a serial killer.
Sarah, according to TikTok, yelling at it works. So yelling, "Hey bear," that gets them to run away.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I love this question, D Hoot has. Have you done, or let's add, will you do a Sasquatch documentary?
I want to do one this year. I still might. But there's just so much around it. It's an international cryptid. I mean, it's not just, a state thing or a national thing. It's an international cryptid. There's in Pennsylvania, we have a thing called the Apatwitch, which is a miniature Sasquatch. And there's an Apatwitch festival every October, somewhere in PA. We went last year.
Okay.
It was okay. It was a lot of fun. But I think if you go this year, I might go and film some of that, get some interviews. We'll see. But I don't know. I want to do a Sasquatch documentary eventually.
Yeah.
I just have to do some planning and, where do I want to take it? Do I want to interview people?
Yeah.
Do I want to go in the woods by myself like an idiot?
Yeah.
Looking for
with bear
Sasquatch
mace.
And with bear mace. But Kristen, she's a good friend of mine, and we discussed this a few times doing the documentary because she's really into Sasquatch.
Yeah.
She's a big Bigfoot nerd. And we have a friend who's basically a Sasquatch hunter.
Okay.
And he's had some crazy experiences in the woods throughout Pennsylvania, which he believes is Sasquatch related. And there's a theory that Sasquatch is more of a supernatural entity and not so much a, organic creature. So, like I said, there's a lot to Sasquatch. There's a lot to Bigfoot.
Yeah.
There's a lot to cover. So I just have to figure out
we
where
might
to start.
We need to hook up your friend that does Sasquatch with our friend James Lady, who has amazing, and I have some new video or audio that he captures. He does a lot of the Sasquatch hunting here in Michigan, and he goes, more upper, he does go to the UP, but also just upper northern Michigan. And his audio, they're very intriguing. And so when you said a supernatural, like some of the words or the way it sounds definitely has more of that supernatural vibe, right, Dee Dee? Like,
yeah, I love the stuff that he posted because I've never heard anything like it.
Yeah, I'll send that over to you, Lawrence. I'll message that to you so you can listen to kind of what he gets. And there's like a whole language built around this, and it is very interesting. So maybe that's something, maybe they already know each other, because if they go to any of the Bigfoot stuff, I know he was just in Ohio for a Bigfoot convention or something like that, so they probably already know each other. But that stuff I think always intrigues people. And now I have to know, are there any stuffed animals of this little mini thing that you have? Because now I must have one.
I don't know. I can't. I never looked up any kind of plush dolls of it, but but yeah, no, I do want to do a Sasquatch documentary eventually. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. But it is definitely something on my list to do.
Awesome. Well, you sound like you're a busy person.
Yeah.
Please go to the MONDOdocs YouTube and TikTok. Give Lawrence a huge follow. Please watch everything that he's doing. He's really got some great work out there. If you haven't watched, now I'm going to go and watch The Devil's Hole. I did not watch that one yet. I'm going to have to go because I don't like walking in the woods.
Look like an idiot.
Yeah. Okay. Around. But that's half the fun. See, that's the stuff we want to see, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, Lawrence, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. I've known of Lawrence. We've had our little backs and forths on Facebook, but I had to know who he actually was. And now we had him right here with the Blondes, getting to know Lawrence. I hope we get to know more about you and to watch your documentaries grow and your channel grow. We will support you every way that we can. Guys on the side, there's Travis Martin is here too. Hello, Travis. Guys on the side chatting. You guys kept the conversation going. Thank you guys so much. Just the nicest people over there. Everybody's talking to everybody and supporting it. And we love that. We see you. We love you. Guys, next week it is Labor Day. So there will be no show on KUNX, but go over to the Blondes channel, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and you will see about 7 other people with the Blondes. And we're going to have a big, giant conversation where we can kind of let loose a little bit more, Lawrence. So it will be an awesome conversation. We're going to kind of tear apart what a ghost, entity, spirit, or energy could be. Right? Yeah. So I don't know. So go check out Lawrence's stuff. Guys, next week, remember Paranormally Blondes page, 7 p.m. After that, we've got some great guests coming up. We will catch you guys next week. Night.
Bye.